Hi everybody, this is the Baseball Hut, the amazing, spectacular, terrific, the great one, the People's Champion. Your host, the Hut, and welcome back to the Baseball Hut. Hope you like this video and smash that subscribe button. So we're going to talk about Juan Soto in this video and just give you an update if you haven't read what's going on online. Obviously, he's going to cost a lot of money. He's going to cost over $600 million, I would say. There aren't too many teams that are going to be able to afford that. The Mets being one of them, the Yankees, the Dodgers, possibly the Phillies. He's met with them, and he also met with the Blue Jays and the Red Sox. Well, a little thing came out today, a little kind of press conference with Hal Steinbrenner, the owner of the Yankees. The Yankees don't seem too sure about whether they're going to sign him. But let me read you this article from the New York Post. Hal Steinbrenner unsure of Yankees' Juan Soto chances after a very honest meeting. Oh boy, if you're a Yankee fan, you're not happy. And like I said in other videos, the Yankee fans are very bitter about this. They loved him, blowing kisses, throwing flowers at him, doing the roll call in the bleachers. But these past few weeks, he's a piece of shit. He can't run. He doesn't play the field. He's terrible outfielder. They bring up all this stuff. You can use that money for other places. Never had a problem spending money on one player before this time. And it's because they're very nervous about him going to the Mets. More to the Mets than anybody else. If he went to the Dodgers, they'd be annoyed, but they wouldn't be pissed off and bitter. And they wouldn't be bitter if he went to the Red Sox, quite frankly, or to the Phillies. Hal Steinbrenner hears you. He understands what Juan Soto means to the Yankees fan base. Or apparently not. They're pissed off beyond belief. He is aware there is nowhere else to find a generational 26-year-old slugger who helped carry the club to within 3 wins of a... I love the way they wrote this. Let me tell you something. They would never beat the Dodgers. Never. They had an easy go of it getting into postseason against the Royals and against the Guardians. Those were not much of a challenge. Those teams were not much of a challenge. They faced their biggest challenge with the Dodgers. And I think the Mets would have beaten them. I think the Phillies would have beaten them. The Braves would have beaten them. That's just my opinion. Quote, we listened to our fans, Steinbrenner said Monday. Our fans really enjoyed having him in New York. He's definitely a significant part of why we got to the World Series. Quote, I've got ears. I didn't know what's expected of me. It's been a priority. Wouldn't have gone out to the West Coast if it wasn't. That sounds very negative. That sounds very negative. The Yankees owner knows the pressure and knows the stakes, but he might not know much else about his team's odds in persuading Soto back into pinstripes. He was traded. It wasn't like they signed him to some short contract. Steinbrenner divulged what he knows and was willing to share during a scrum with reporters in Midtown. Steinbrenner, general manager Brian Cashman, and manager Aaron Boone, 3 members of the Three Stooges, advisor Omar Minaya, and team president Randy Levine visited Soto and agent Scott Boras on Monday. I would mention that Boras has his headquarters there. That's why all the teams are going there. That's why they're having the meetings here. Meetings there, excuse me. The meeting was, quote, a very honest back and forth dialogue that lasted a couple of hours. Soto, who knows plenty about the Yankees after playing all of last season in the Bronx, had questions about the player development system, which he does not know well, which plays a large factor in which teams win and which teams do not. Oh, really? Steinbrenner did not divulge or did not know much else concerning the sweepstakes. Four times in a 14-minute session, Steinbrenner said no idea regarding Soto's wishes or next steps. Was that interesting? He did not promise that Soto would end up a Yankee, but said, we'll be in the mix. That doesn't sound too confident, does it? That doesn't sound too confident. Soto played an entire season in the Bronx and by all counts enjoyed his time as a Yankee. Does the club have an inherent advantage in the Derby? To this, and to just about all of the queries of a similar ilk, a main suitor for Soto's services might as well have shrugged. No idea. I don't know. I don't know. Steinbrenner said at the owners' meetings, all I know is he's earned this and he's going to go through the process. Among the known contenders, Steve Cohen's Mets, the Red Sox, the Blue Jays, the Dodgers, and the Phillies. At present value, Soto's contract is expected to become the largest in the sports history. The Post, John Heyman's report that no financials have been discussed in this first round of meetings. I don't know if this is about the Yankees. I don't know if the Yankees talked to him about money. But the word is that the Mets, there was an offer on the table from the Mets. 15 years, $660 million. That's according to reports. Also, according to Michael Kay, who's a Yankee broadcaster, and he has his own radio show, he said on his show on Monday that if the Mets are outbid by any of these teams, Steve Cohen will give him another $50 million onto the contract. So if the Yankees were to say give him $700 million, the Mets will give him another $50 million. Or if the Dodgers were to give him $700, the Mets will give them another $50. Just to give you an example. In my opinion, this doesn't seem to be the confident, robust New York Yankees. They don't really know. Okay, the article continues. Do they believe he simply will sign with the highest bidder? Can't really answer that, Hal said. I just don't know. All I can tell you is I do believe he enjoyed his time here. He's close with Aaron Judge. Horseface. He's close with Aaron Boone. So we'll see. But in the end, he needs to do what's best for him and his family. Isn't that what they always say? Just read some more quotes from him. So we're in a better starting position than we were a year ago. We've got the ability to sign any player we want to sign. So do the Mets. Cohen had led a contingent that met with Soto on Saturday and loses perhaps the biggest threat to the Yankees. The richest owner in the sport, having established quickly that he can and will throw around more money than just about anybody else. He will do everything he can to get this player. With a few exceptions, the Yankees are not known for allowing superstar free agents to walk. But that reputation was earned before Cohen was a competitor. And then actually, to be honest with you, it was earned before Howell was the owner. According to Steinbrenner, losing Soto to a different borough would not sting any extra. Quote, if it doesn't work out, it's going to hurt a little bit no matter where he goes. Let me tell you something. The shift of power in New York City will completely shift from the Yankees to the Mets. It's been shifting, but then the shifting would be complete. The transformation would be finished. That's my Palpatine voice, my Emperor voice. You know, soon you'll be one of us. You know, soon Soto. But anyway, I can do a bad one. That's not a good one. It's off the top of my head. A few Star Wars fans. But how I look at it, as your host, you're a very humble host, you're a great host, you're an amazing, terrific, spectacular, terrific host. I said that going into the last few weeks, that it was a 50-50 chance. 50-50 chance to either be with the Yankees or be with the Mets. I don't think he's going to sign with the Dodgers. He doesn't seem to be, he's a West Coast guy. I don't think he's going to sign with the Blue Jays. I can't imagine going there. I don't think he'll sign with the Phillies. I don't think he'll sign with the Red Sox. Although they could use a big player. I don't think they'll go up there in terms of that money. I think, like I said, I thought it was 50-50, but now I'm starting to think it's getting to be more like 58-59 Mets, 42-43 Yankees in terms of the odds. I'm not a betting man. I think it's a 58% chance now that he signs with the Mets. That's how I look at it. I look at it in terms of percentages, and that's how I've sort of come up with that one, just in my own head. I've been pretty good over the last several years of getting it right when it comes to the Mets signing players or not signing players. I feel very confident about this one particular player because the Mets didn't have large contracts that were signed last year, basically in anticipation for this player. Almost the Mets did this exact same thing the Dodgers did last year and the year before that when they didn't spend any money 22 into 23, and then they just sort of waited until Ohtani was a free agent, and I think that's kind of what the Mets have done. Now, obviously, the Mets have other holes. They're going to need a first baseman or they're going to need a third baseman. If they don't sign Pete Alonso, there's a lot of talk about Alex Bregman. I don't know about that. There's talk about them signing Willie Adames. I don't know about that. It didn't seem like the market is that great for Pete. I think he'll have a lot of teams on him, but in terms of money, I don't know what that's going to entail. The Mets need starting pitching. I could see them making a big trade, either for Garrett Crochet. I could also see them doing a salary dump for a salary dump. For instance, I could see them doing a Starling Marte / Jeff McNeil going to the Diamondbacks for Jordan Montgomery. That's a player. Let me tell you something. there's a pitcher that's going to have a big year next year, that's a guy that will have a big year. Because you get him at it. First of all, it's toxic now with the ownership there. Being all pissed off they signed him. But, get the guy a break. He had a lousy free agency. He had to fire his agent, which was Scott Boras, by the way. That's a guy you want to bring in. He would really be good. And he'd be good down the stretch for the Mets. And he's a veteran. He's pitched in New York. He's pitched in the World Series. He's been great. But I also mentioned this. I've not heard anything about Corbin Burns. I've heard Corbin Burns with the Dodgers and the Orioles. So I don't think he'll be coming here. Like I said, anything they get from the pitching will be guys that they can sign for a year or two. I don't think they'll go, or 3 years. I don't see them going any longer than that because it doesn't seem to be like David Stearns' MO to sign these guys to long-term deals if you're a pitcher. An offensive player is different, and so is 26. But that's how I look at it. Just looking at things the way I've seen it sort of unfold here, and really the last 2 off seasons, and learning about David Stearns. Again, I can see them sign it. There's a 58% chance they'll sign Soto. There is less. I haven't thought about Pete in terms of percentages yet. I'll get back to you on that. The pitching step, I can see them making a big trade or a little trade, and because the Mets have a lot of middle infielders, they need to move out of here. Especially if they bring in a Danis and they bring in a Bregman. Because they're going to have to move a lot of pieces around, and there's not going to be any places for players to play. Young players to play. So that's the one thing you got to keep an eye on. And keep an eye on Garrett Crochet. I can see them doing something there. I don't know much about him as a pitcher, but that's what I've heard. So, and we've seen reports of it if you've been paying attention. So you let me know what you think about this video. Of course, please send me super thanks. It's a great way. It's a great donation for the channel. I want to thank you for coming by. Please, of course, like this video, leave comments in the comment section, and I'll see you later.